Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Plaquemines Prep Rewind. As always, joined by Jason Tonga, and of course, he's a little happier for this show. I'm Cody Juneau, and Jason. You know, we got a couple good weeks of football that we got to bring back to these folks. Good for one team, not so much for the other.
Kind of depends on what part of the parish you live in, whether it's good or bad. But we got 4 games to recap, 4 games to look forward to, and
some picks and some clothing changes,
some wardrobe functions, not malfunctions.
No, it's actually it's a major malfunction, is what it's going to be. But we have all that for you and more coming up right after this on Plaquemines Prep Rewind. Plaquemines Prep Rewind is proudly sponsored by Deltone Electric and Air Conditioning. We'll fix it in a flash. Reed McClellan with Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Custom Stitches, Embroidery, and Advertising, your one-stop shop for all your promotional needs. Lori Spar Insurance, your independent agent for Plaquemines Parish. Microtel Inn and Suites, designed for a better stay where you're home away from home this season. Newman Crane, 3 locations and 24-hour crane service. Plaquemines Bargain Plus. Read us online at www.bargainsplusnow.com. Razor's Edge Salon and Spa, a full-service salon. Rotolo's, the official pizzeria of Plaquemines Prep. And Tony Plummer with State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And welcome back to Plaquemines Prep Rewind.
Come on, cheer up.
As you can see, I lost the bet with Jason, which we'll get to that game in
I had to do it last year, so I mean it's only fair.
Yeah, but those were good-looking colors.
What's wrong?
I
with
never
green
wear
and white?
green ever.
Well,
Ever. No Tulane green. I don't even catch a green beads during Mardi Gras. I give them to somebody.
Well,
and now I'm in a public restaurant wearing this. So thanks. Well not really thanks, but
I had nothing to do with it.
Anyways, before that game, it wasn't the game of the week, but Belle Chase went to Homa, took on Vanderbilt Catholic, and Elijah McGuire. We found out all about who he was last year, and he is all that in a bag of chips.
He is all that in a bag of chips, but realistically, kind of defense was the tone for Belle Chase that night. As the indications, if you look at the stats, they're a little skewed, and I actually pulled up the wrong game on here as we're talking about this.
I noticed.
Thank you for that. But McGuire was kept in check all night. Another running back had over 100 yards. I don't remember the running back's name because I think we're all infatuated with McGuire. Yeah. And he really has been Mr. Everything for Vanderbilt this year.
Right.
Belle Chase was hanging with him, keeping it close. McGuire broke about a 60-yard touchdown run late in the game that kind of salted it away for the home Terriers and put that one away for Vanderbilt. But, again, the theme for Belle Chase right now, they're basically playing without a quarterback still. Yeah. And, to go into that game, Dylan Parker kind of assuming the role as the quarterback. Not really a bad effort for the Cardinals, just one in which they are unable to come away with a win.
Yeah, and, Belle Chase, if anything, the defense has been staying strong.
Yeah.
From the last 2 weeks. So, and of course, you expect that from a Stephen Myers type of defense, and that's going to be the thing that they're going to need to continue to go on through the rest of the year. But it's been a pretty good 2 weeks for South Plaquemines as we go into the game 2 weeks ago. That South Plaquemines, it was the game of the week. Sophie B. Wright, not Sophie B. Hawkins, but Sophie B. Wright playing South Plaque.
Sorry for Sophie B. Wright, but Sophie B. wrong that night because South Plaquemines, that game, the final score was 36-6. If you see the game of the week, it was played in a pretty substantial rain shower for most of the evening. So downpouring at different times in the night. Is homecoming night actually in Port Sulphur. It reminded me of that scene in Necessary Roughness for homecoming night when they talk about the maid with the lightning strike and all of that.
Yeah.
But,
but she's okay.
She is okay. But getting back to South Plaquemines, what you look at is a team that's built with the kind of speed that South Plaquemines has on a really muddy, sloppy field like that. Mother Nature's the equalizer. So that game was a 30-point game in bad conditions. If they'd have played that on a normal dry field, South Plaquemines probably would have won that game by 50 points.
Yeah, Coach Figueroa has his team rolling. And speaking of rolling, they went to Joe Lupin Field where it was originally scheduled for a Thursday night. Apparently a bunch of people ended up going, and it wasn't on a Thursday. They moved it to a Friday, which I think they did that on purpose because that's what Newman does. They knew that they had a tough game the week before, and they had to rest up a little bit. But South Plaquemines was not fazed one bit. Coach Figaro and his Hurricanes are doing great things right now, and they pretty much put it to Newman.
Here's your passing statistics for the game to tell you this. How many passes did South Plaquemines attempt in the game?
Probably 0.
0. How many rushing yards? And, I mean, when you're in 2A, running the ball, to me, is the way to go. If you can see these stats right here, Newman was held to 22 yards rushing. In high school football, that will never get it done. South Plaquemines, on the other hand, 309 yards rushing. If you look.
Well, when you have 0 yards passing,
you pretty much have to run the ball.
You have to run the ball, right?
And actually, just without passing the ball, they outgained Newman overall. But, I mean, it wasn't even that close. The final score, 60-13. Apparently, Newman got all their offense out against Carver the week before and had nothing left. Now, Newman did have a 7-0 lead, but by the end of the first quarter, it was 22-7.
And it pretty much was. I know the offensive line and defensive lines do great things for the Hurricanes, but it pretty much was a two-man show for South Plaquemines, as 2 of their guys ended up pretty much accumulating for almost all their points.
Absolutely, and if you read the Times-Picayune whenever you can find one, when they do come out
3 days a week,
you'll see that Dominic Henry from South Plaquemines was named the Metro Area Small School Player of the Week. Yeah. So I think
he'll actually be honored like in December 10th, I think.
Yeah, something like that. It'll be in the swimsuit issue, I think. I don't know. But 5 touchdowns in the game for Henry. Gibson added 3 more, I believe.
And a few 2-point conversions.
2-point conversions. He is kind of like the Saints go to that quick out to Lance Moore when they need a 2-point conversion that seems to never fail. Joseph Gibson's sweep play on the 2-point conversion is money in the bank.
Yeah, South Plaquemines, we said that they had a chance of at worst doing 1-1, and if they could come away 2-0, that's going to push them towards the end of the year, and it looks like it's going to happen that way. And, of course, the other game. Jason, you just talk about it.
Again, since we are reporting for Plaquemines Prep, it was kind of unfortunate, the result of this game for everybody except for me and, well, I guess it's unfortunate for Cody. But, again, a good defensive effort for the Cardinals.
Only giving up 21 points.
21 points, and, I mean, it was 14-0 quickly. So when you look at the way that game played out, we saw some bright spots. We saw a little bit more of the development of Dylan Parker in that kind of, basically playing a wildcat for the whole game.
Right.
You saw Jade Baldwin kick a 31-yard field goal, which was
I think
very
that's like
impressive.
One of the longest field goals that Belichick has had since, I want to say, Bobby McCray in the late 80s, early 90s.
Which, we're almost lucky Shaw didn't have to kick a field goal because the kid, his name was Carmadell, warming up from 45 yards and kicking him over the goalpost, over the fence, and into the parking lot. So you can imagine maybe LSU might want to take a look at him. He had kicked 2 or 3 of them like that. And they actually had 2 kickers on the team, so they can compete with one another and maybe drive them even further. But, again, Shaw came out with that spread the field, throw it around type offense to start the game. Belchase basically just does not have the manpower to match up with that because a lot of the guys on Belchase's defense are playing both ways, especially with the injuries that they're dealing with.
Got worn down a little bit.
And they were, it's hard to say that they were worn down because, like I said, they gave up the opening drive. Shaw marches straight down the field. Shaw gets their second drive, goes down the field again, same play. Brendan Falcon, the tight end, catches both of the first touchdowns. And then Belchase kind of figured out something offensively. They were able to work the perimeters. They were able to get their run game going. They discovered possibly a new running back. And I made the comment to Amos during the game that if you need to find offense in Plaquemines Parish, you go out and get yourself a Silv.
That's about right. Yeah.
And it's never failed before. And Devin Silv, really a monstrous night for him running the ball. There were plays, kind of reminds you of that Deuce McAllister run against the Eagles in the playoffs in 06 where he hit the pile and the pile just kept going down the field a few yards.
What's Chris Berman do? He always goes –
Yeah. It was like that many a times that night. Some of the hardest hits that night were provided by Dylan Parker and Devin Silv, not anybody on the Shaw defense.
Yeah, another game that could have went either way, but Shaw got the best of Belchase. So Belchase is currently on at least a two-game losing streak. No, three-game losing streak
now.
And South Plaquemines is on a 4-game winning streak, 3 games in district. And when we come back from these messages, we'll preview what both of those teams have looking ahead. From Salvo's Seafood and Plaquemines Prep Rewind, have more right after this.
Get that.